The gentleman from Texas, Chairman Sessions, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I want to follow up on the interesting dialogue that my friend and gentleman from Virginia did, and that was, good gosh, can't we catch on? Can we catch on that the Chinese are here? They are not just competitors, they're for our demise. We were told years and years ago they wanted to be a part of the world market. They would respect intellectual property, rule of law, tariffs. They would do all these things, and I think there's more than enough evidence to suggest they do not do that. The gentleman from Virginia insightfully, and I agree with him, well, what did we do about these things that happened that we were aware of? Mr. Atkinson, the Homeland Security in January of 21 put out a document that was entitled, DHS Strategic Action Plan to Counter the Threat Posed by the People's Republic of China. Should have gotten each of you a copy of this, and I will make sure that happens. But before that, I'll see if I can coach you along. Well into, I think, page 11, continuing to protect the homeland, border security and immigration, ensure the effective removal of PRC nationals from the United States. At present, January 21, 40,800 PRC nationals in the United States are subject to final orders of removal. Well, we're accused of making this politicized, but the bottom line is the gentleman from Virginia and I are pretty close on the same page. What are we doing about the threat? Mr. Atkinson, what would you say ensure the effective removal of back in 21, 40,000 nationals that were subject to final orders of removal?
Well, again, Congressman, with the caveat being I don't know that case. If that is the case, I don't see any reason why we would allow them to continue to be in our country.
Okay, how about some 16,000, as I understand it, maybe the last count I saw, Chinese that came here over some short period of time that wandered across our southern border? Would you call that politics, or would you call that good common sense that you'd like to know who they are and remove them since they did not follow a legal process?
So I don't want to comment on immigration policy per se, but I do think it's critical to understand who they are. They're different. Look, back in the Soviet Russia days, if somebody was Russian, that raised a question. It was obvious. If somebody was French, we didn't raise the same question. So I do think having Chinese, somebody coming into the country from China is in a different category.
So I'm trying to really go to where the gentleman from Virginia was. What are we doing to counter the threat that we already know that the PRC has already openly said what they're attempting to manipulate? And do we just let this go on? Ambassador, do you have a thought on this?
No, we don't let it go on, sir. I think we have to operate eyes wide open. I think there's been a great deal of naivete over a long period of time. I mean, you could say, did it begin with Nixon's opening up to China? And then from there, I think there's...
Yeah, but they changed their mind. They lied.
But there's been complacency, I think profit-making, I think we've been anesthetized, I think Wall Street's engaged, but I think we really need to be nimble, informed, and educated, whole of society, whole of government, and commensurate with the threat. You look at the 2018-2019 National Intelligence Law, the PRC, the 2015 National Security Law. It requires, as directed, PRC nationals, whether they're in the PRC or anywhere around the world, to surveil, collect, and report as directed or voluntarily. And sometimes they're paid for it. So why we don't have our footing correspondingly is outrageous.
Well, I think that these are things that we can find common ground to work on. I think the distinguished gentleman from Virginia should be concerned. But I think every person on this committee should, and look at this as an important hearing to ask professionals, not just us, what they think. And I think all four of you have been able to present yourself in such a way that the case is we have a problem, and we better get ourselves together. And part of that means that we better protect the American people, not just American intellectual property. Mr. Chairman, I yield back my time.
Gentleman yields